conduct a forensic audit of the 13th All-Africa Games held in Accra last year. Later on, we tell you why residents of the East Gonja municipality in the Savannah region are protesting decades of crippling and staple power supply and neglect by government. Details of these and more in the next 30 minutes. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyeman. This is the midday news on 3FM 92.7. Let's begin the bulletin from here. The former Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishadai Owusu-Amoah, has been found guilty of procurement breaches and administrative lapses that cost the state nearly 9 million Ghana cedis. A 157-page report by the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SRAJ, signed by Commissioner Dr. Joseph Withal on October 28, 2025, concluded that Dr. Owusu-Amoah presided over irregular and fraudulent contract awards with 3 companies: Rona Motors Ghana Limited, Telino Ghana Limited, and Sagel Motors and Trading Company Limited. SRAJ found that these contracts were riddled with inflated prices, duplication, and questionable suppliers, 2 of whom could not even be traced to their registered addresses. The Commission determined that Dr. Owusu-Amoah's actions caused a financial loss of more than $826,000, equivalent to about 8.9 million cedis to the state. Although the petitioners, the Movement for Truth and Accountability, later attempted to withdraw their complaint, SRAJ went ahead with the probe, commending the group for what it called their public spiritedness. So here are some recommendations that SRAJ made in their report: that the respondent be disqualified from holding any public office for all period of 5 years from the date of this decision. And also, the Commission is referring the respondent and directors of the 3 companies to the Attorney General for possible prosecution and the recovery of the sum of $826,551 lost to the state. Still with the issues of corruption, President John Mahama has directed the Auditor General to conduct a forensic audit into Ghana hosting the 13th All-Africa Games in Accra. A statement from the presidency issued on Tuesday, November 4, said the directive follows findings submitted by the National Intelligence Bureau, NIB, and reflects government commitment to accountability, transparency, and prudent use of public funds. Ghana hosted the Games from March 8 to 2024. While the event boosted national pride and showcased new sporting facilities, it also drew public criticism over spending, with reports indicating more than $195 million went into infrastructure and another $46 million into operations. The audit will seek to establish whether these...
Ghana hosted the Games from March 8 to 23rd of March 2024. And like the President has given the directive, we'll be looking at the scope of this audits, if you can project that for me. Now, the All-Africa Games forensic audits, what is the scope looking at? We are going to be reviewing all financial and operational aspects of the Games, and these are the 4 aspects that we'll be focusing on. We are going to be looking at procurement and contracting. Now, under this, we'll be investigating how tenders were handled. We'll also be checking the contractor and supplier selection, and also ensuring compliance with the Public Procurement Act, which is Act 663. Now let's go to the other slide. We'll also be looking at the financial management and expenditure control, which would also review the funding sources, how exactly they got the funds to make this possible. We're looking at spending and also disbursement procedures. We'll also be examining how sponsorship funds were managed. That is what this forensic audit will be looking at. Another thing we'll be looking at in this audit is infrastructure and project delivery. This would assess the project timelines and the cost overruns. Would also determine whether these construction and renovations actually offered value for the money which was
invested into
exactly. Let's move to the next slide. We'll be looking at the institutional performance. Now, we'll evaluate how government agencies and the committees coordinated during this planning and execution stages.
So do we know the time frame for this investigation?
Well, we're going to get into that. So let's go to the next slide.
Right, so this is the media news on 3FM 92.7. We are bringing you a scope of that investigation that has been sanctioned by President Mahama by the Auditor General to investigate how much Ghana spent in hosting the All Africa Games. Did we get value for money for how much we invested into that? And the Auditor General has up until the middle of the end of December to present his report to the president on what he has discovered in that report. Because do we have more on this audit by the Auditor General?
Well, we are aware that these reports indicated that over $195 million was spent on infrastructure, and with an additional $46 million. And all of this has brought a lot of criticisms, and that is why the president has decided to have an audit on this particular project that was taking last year.
All right, Christabel, thank you for those updates. I know that it's an issue a lot of Ghanaians are following. When we have updates, we'll definitely bring that to our listeners. So that is it for you. The Auditor General has till the middle of December to present his report to President Mahama on what he's found when Ghana hosted the All African Games. My colleague Christabel Sasses-Trevor joining us with the latest or details of that instruction sanctioned by President Mahama. This is still the midday news on 3FM 92.7. Let's do other stories now. And well, let's go on the phone and speak to Samuel Owusu, who is an anti-graft campaigner. Solomon Owusu. Mr. Owusu, thank you for joining us. You're live on 3FM 92.7. First of all, talk to us your general reaction to President Mahama's directive for this audit into the All African Games spending.
Let me say it's a step in the right direction. It's a call in the right direction that we must all support the president. At the end of the day, we are looking at whether or not total money expended on the All Africa Games was indeed money that the country needed to expend, or whether or not there are monies that are found its way in the pockets of individuals that are not supposed to land there. So, as a citizen of this country that pays tax, why would I not be happy with such a call? So, it's a step in the right direction, and I believe the president got it right.
Reports are suggesting that nearly $240 million was spent on the games. Much of this amount went into infrastructure and operations. If you have to look at this from the anti-corruption standpoint, what red flags do you think the Auditor General should be looking out for?
So the immediate pointer, we have about 6 pointers, but I can give you one or two or three of it to let you understand that the problem might be more deeper than what we are even anticipating. First of all, the organizers, together with the Ministry of Youth and Sports, told the Public Accounts Committee in 2024 that they paid Ghana Broadcasting Corporation an amount of $3 million plus dollars. Now, immediately the sector minister gave that information. We also heard from the Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, Professor Alassane, the bank that asserted that he and his entity only received $105,000. So right there is confusion. Now, subsequent documents also suggest that indeed the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation was used as a conduit to pay certain companies that purported to have undertaken the technical aspect of the whole contract. Some of the companies are not even non-existent, which makes it very serious.
The report says you can't even trace some of them to their addresses.
We can't trace them. Host companies. So why would I be a citizen of this country and keep quiet on that? So that's the first point. Number two, if you have ever visited the University of Ghana campus, which I know you have, there are 4 halls, Elizabeth Say, Kwapo, Liman, and then there's Nelson. We are told these are halls occupied by students. In fact, because of the All Africa Games, they were made to go to their various homes to allow for the games to take place. So all that the organizing committee did was to buy some air conditions to fix in these halls. We were told by this committee and organizers that they expended $16 million on that. How can this be possible? While this $16 million they are claiming could put up the entire 4 hostels that they actually used. Clearly, there is something missing amidst there or something wrong. We were again told that they used $145 million to construct the Boteman Olympic Stadium. Aliu Mahama Sports Stadium costed this country $20 billion. Esipon costed us $20 billion. In fact, if you look at comparative or comparable stadia of such as it does not cost more than $60 million. Yet we were told that was how much was suspended. Remember the $15 million that they claim they expended on buying on cooking food? These are outrageous figures. These are things that must not cross the minds of the people of this country. Yet we were told by the committee. How about the tax used by journalists? That costed almost $4 million. My sister, would you believe this? Cock and bull story. So, and these figures I'm quoting to you came out of an audit, not a forensic audit. What a forensic audit does is to go into the details of every transaction. Now, if you tell anyone that you bought an air condition, now you want to see the flow of the flow of transaction from the bank account of the 13th World Africa Games Committee to the vendor, and all these things will be a trace to establish whether or not indeed such monies were paid. So I agree with the president. I'm with him on this, and I believe that those that have been mandated to carry out the forensic audit will not shortchange the people of this country.
So at the end of the day, if the audit uncovers wrongdoing, what should be the next step to ensure real consequences, not just another report that gathers dust?
So because we have not gotten there, that's why I ended my submission by saying that I hope and trust that those that have been entrusted with this work will not shortchange the people of this country. If they are going to do a meticulous job, I can tell. Let's take an example is the misunderstanding between the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation boss and the ministry. It could be that the Director General of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation himself was trying to do in the country, was trying to shortchange the people of this country by giving us a figure less than what he actually took. Mind you, some of the companies that he himself listed
all right,
as having benefited were non-existent companies.
Okay.
And so it will have to expose a lot of things.
Mr. Osu, thank you for talking to us. Solomon Owusu is an anti-graft campaigner and also the Director of Communications for the United Party. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. We are back with more after this break. Stay with us. Well, this is still the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. We apologize for that. Let's quickly go and do some other stories now. And the team from the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, has launched an unannounced operation to enforce the ban on the sale and use of Changfan machines associated with illegal mining activities. The EPA last week announced an indefinite ban on the fabrication, importation and distribution of Changfan equipment, which has been widely blamed for the surge in illegal mining and there is resulting pollution of water bodies. Today's clampdown is taking place at Amian Kwanta in the Amansia Central District of the Ashanti region, said to be a major hub for Galamsey equipment. Leading the operation, the Chief Executive Officer of the EPA, Professor Nana Ama Brown Kluche, said the exercise is part of a broader nationwide effort to curb the proliferation of illegal mining and also restore Ghana's degraded environment.
This shop, we've seen that the owner is a Chinese national, and we see that they're selling Changfan machines, they're selling the motor and other parts of what they use to mine in our river bodies. So we have to close them down. First, it's illegal to sell these floating machines that are used to mine in our river bodies. Mining in our river bodies is prohibited. We are not supposed to mine in the river bodies. So this shop supports equipment, or they sell equipment that are used to mine in our river bodies. And EPA is here to close down the shop and many other shops that support mining in our river bodies. We're trying to solve the problem of our river bodies, heavily polluted in the country, whilst we're trying to clean our water bodies, whilst we try to clear people from mining in the water bodies. We can't allow the shop that provide a support system for them to operate, and they actually do not have permits to sell the equipment that they sell to Ghanaians. They hide under a disguise that their machines are also used for agricultural purposes. And we clearly know that these, especially in this area, they are used for mining in our water bodies, and everything here is actually what they use to mine in the water bodies. So we are here to close down the shop.
Professor Nana Ama-Brown-Kluche is the CEO of the Environmental Protection Authority. Time now for that break. We'll be right back.
Hello, Ghana. It's a new year and Bills Microcredit is here to support your dreams. If you're not working but want to start a business, don't let money stop you. With just your Ghana card, you can get a loan to turn your ideas into reality. Already running a business? Need more capital? Or are you a salary worker looking for extra funds? Bills offers fast and easy loans with no collateral, no deposit, and no SUSI savings required. Wherever you are, whatever you need, Bills makes it happen. Call Bills Microcredit today. Call 0596 920 833 or 0302 200 390 and get started. Bills is licensed and regulated by the Bank of Ghana. Bills, financing your needs. Terms and conditions apply.
3FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Welcome back. You're still on the media news on 3FM 92.7. Let's go to the Savannah region, shall we? Well, residents in the East Gonja municipality of the region are demanding urgent government intervention to address what they describe as decades of crippling power instability. Hundreds of residents under the umbrella of the coalition of Salaga Deserves Better poured onto the principal streets of Salaga to protest persistent erratic power supply and low voltage. They say the situation is destroying livelihoods, slowing down development, and negatively affecting student academic performance. The demonstrators expressed frustration over years of engagement with officials of the Volta River Authority, VRA, and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NETCO, traditional and religious leaders, and the Municipal Assembly, all of which they claim have failed to yield lasting results. Let's connect with my colleague Nadra Mohammed in Salaga, who has more on this. Nadra, if you can hear me, talk to us. How is the power situation affecting livelihoods of the people?
So yes, the power situation here in Salaga is not something to write home about. According to what residents are saying is that in a day they can experience power outage more than 20 times. And this happens to affect their businesses, especially those who rely solely on electricity for business. The coastal operators, the local woman who does the local drinks, and other businesses, the welders, they're all complaining because of the power outages here in Salaga.
All right, Nadra, let's listen to what they've been saying.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sedu Suraya, speaking from Salaga. Please, the rice is causing so much problem to our business. Because, as let's just mention, I'm selling clothing. My shop is hot. I wanted to buy AC, but because of the low current, I can't buy the AC. And then our mothers too, they are selling water, beer, and then sober. Their sober is always spoiling. So please, we are pleading the government is to try and then fix our lights for us. And then we have a poor road too.
Nadra, so what have NETCO officials or Assembly been saying about the situation?
So what the Assembly have been saying is that that was for the past weeks, they are trying to engage NETCO officials to know what exactly is the problem and how to bring an everlasting solution to it. And so, yes, NEDCO is saying, what NEDCO is saying is that the situation is beyond them and they have to seek intervention from the central government, which they have started the initiative. And then for the past 4 days now, they've had electricity, but it's still on low current. So they believe that within the coming days or the coming weeks, with the intervention they are putting in place, everything should come to an end.
All right, Nadra, thank you for bringing us those updates. Nadra Mohammed, my colleague, updating us in that erratic power supply situation in Salaga and what residents are demanding from authorities. Away from Salaga, an issue that will be of interest to you. The Ghana Aids Commission is to roll out condom dispensing machines at strategic locations, particularly during events where young people gather, following a concerning trend of a decline in condom use among the youth. This worrying development comes as the country grapples with a significant number of new HIV infections, with 15,290 cases recorded in 2024 alone. Alarmingly, 60% of those infected know their status, highlighting the need for targeted interventions. Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Clamasel Prosper Akabong, spoke during the launch of the 2025 World AIDS Day in Accra.
The Commission now doesn't have money. So all the interventions that we are designing, they are still on the drawing board, and there are no funds for implementation. Meanwhile, this fund was supposed to have been activated somewhere in 2016, because that's when the GAC Act was amended and then the fund was introduced. But from 2016 to date, we have been calling upon government, making all the appeals, and still the fund is in a state of comatose. So we are appealing to His Excellency the President that we need the resources. We want to end AIDS by 2030. Without a dedicated fund to support all the innovations, all the other interventions, there's no way we'll be able to achieve that result.
Meanwhile, the Ghana HIV and AIDS Network is urging the government to operationalize the National HIV and AIDS Fund, warning that the fight against HIV and AIDS may be severely hindered without it.
It's very important. Condom accessibility is a big problem. You know, most often people don't just buy condoms because you go to the pharmacy, you say, oh, can I get a condom? You say, you look at you from head to toe and say, and that is a part of stigma of condom use. But if we make it just accessible, I mean, in a very vantage place, be it a drinking bar, the sports stadium, lorry station, nightclubs. I mean, you just go and drop your coin there and comes 3 packs come to you and it's in your pocket and you're ready to use. It's discreet, it's exclusive, and you don't have to face that stigma. We started it some time ago, but these machines are all broken down. And with what is happening right now, we need to have innovative machines that can easily distribute that, because it should come with a message. As you pick your condoms, you get a message that this pre-exposure prophylaxis is available to you, post-exposure prophylaxis is available to you. And you have covered most universities there, whole weeks. What happens? There's always a lot of demand for this. 10, 15 years ago, the airways were full of HIV, AIDS messages. And we hardly hear that. Over the past 10, 15 years, we've not heard any such kind of messages. And what we're saying is that now the youth have grown into adulthood, they are sexually active, they've not heard these messages before. But their way of communicating is different from how we used to communicate. And therefore we need the best way that they communicate among themselves, which is social media.
Well, you have been listening to the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Clamasel Prosper. For years, a university degree was seen as a promise. Study hard, graduate, and get a job in your field. Today, that promise is being rewritten. In this new world of work, many young people are working in jobs they never studied for. But what really might have caused this, Christabel Trevor has been finding out in this report.
Their certificates say one thing. The work they do says another, without much in the certificate. For most of them, this shift is not a dream, but it was survival. Others still continue on that path. A growing number of Ghanaian graduates are redefining what success means, finding income and fulfillment outside the fields they studied.
I studied agric. I'm a blogger.
How did you end up in blogging and not anything to do with agric?
I think blogging is my passion. And with the agric, I think parents, they wanted me to do agric, so I did agric. So I was going with the flow. You are not getting what you want. You go to offices, and so you have to create something on your own. So I created it for myself.
I'm schooling too as well, and then I'm a DJ too as well. So I'm in GH Media, studying the graphic design works and all that. Yeah.
So to finish the school, there should be some system where you have to pass through and make sure what you learned, you are using it to work. But after that, you are left out there to fend for yourself. So whatever you grab, you just feed on it.
In the fourth quarter of 2024, the Ghana Statistical Service GSS data collected from over 9,000 households across the country showed that Ghana's unemployment rate fell from 13.3% in the third quarter of 2024 to 13.1%. In various workshops, kitchens, and small offices across the country, young people are building new identities. They are creating work for themselves in an economy that is not always created for them. Many say it was not the path they wanted, but the one that opened. Some discovered new passions. Others simply adjusted to survive. Experts say the people study what is available in school, not what is demanded in the market. There have been concerns graduates are not trained for the job market. Experts also say this is shaped by the economy, environment, and lack of career guidance.
I would say that the career choices or what we pursue at the end of the day is being driven by economic perspective, and these things has made a lot of people to change their focus. We also talk about the environment as well. As I said, environment contributes a lot, and we, from a developing perspective, we always want to pursue any program or any opportunities that will change our economic situation. We need to have these kind of career guidance so that we can easily identify what mostly is what is prevalent in our dispensation or currently. Parents need to be knowledgeable of nowadays. If you're a parent and you don't know current trends, you don't know what is moving, what is going on, I'm sorry that your children, you can mislead your children into some kind of career that at the end of the day is outmoded.
But others see it as a gap between education and the real world.
Currently, if you have seen the current secondary level curriculum, you see that we have introduced a number of things which are near professionalization, where students are learning things about, where we call it STEM, where students begin to learn a lot of variety of skills relating to specific jobs that they want to do in the future.
Well, that report brought to you by my colleague Christabel Trevor. Log on to our various social media platforms and get the full report. That will be all for the media news on 3FM 92.7. It came to you live from our studios here at Adesawi Kanda, Accra. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyeman. My colleague Badu is standing by to bring us the latest in the world of business. Good afternoon.
And hello there, good afternoon, welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, Social Security and National Insurance Trust SNIT affirms pension scheme sustainability amid investment growth.
We need to expand because we are becoming efficient at what it is that we do as we seek to bring the cost of operations down. Because the more we expand, the larger the numbers that will support us.
Also, Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, calls for demand-stimulating policies ahead of the 2026 budget.
The current scan of the business environment indicates that demand is quite low now, and activity in the business sector is very, very quiet.
Plus, Ghanaians demand relief in cost of goods as fuel prices drop.
Either there's a small margin, like increments of the goods. Sometimes it remains stable. So, to my idea, when the fuel price drops down, the prices of goods and services must also be either stable or drop.
I am Michael Obodu. Details of these and many other stories coming up shortly. Please stay with us. Thank you so much for your time. Now to our top story. And the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, has reaffirmed the long-term sustainability of Ghana's pension schemes, citing significant growth in its stock exchange investments, which have increased by nearly 2 billion cedis. Despite past concerns over deficits, investment risk, and delayed regulatory payments, SNIT says the scheme remains robust. Speaking at a stakeholder symposium, Director General Kwesi Afrɛ-Baini disclosed that the trust is currently restructuring parts of its investment portfolio to maximize returns for contributors.
The next 60 years will be a period that we will look back and be very happy with the successes that we will chalk together. SNIT is a pension fund that goes beyond the conventional from the cradle to the grave, because we are conscious of the need to expand, because we are becoming efficient at what it is that we do as we seek to bring the cost of operations down. Because the more we expand, the larger the numbers that will support us. So by doing so, the dependency ratio would go up, because then you have more members supporting those that are in the pension bracket. And we're also confident because our investment returns would remain strong. I would broaden it into a conversation of the role of data and the role of having an organization that is digitally led.
That was Director General of SNIT, Kwesi Afrɛ-Baini, speaking. Now, with the 2026 budget presentation scheduled for November 13, the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, is urging government to prioritize policies aimed at stimulating consumer demand to drive economic growth. The executive chairman of FABAG, Reverend John Awuni, emphasized that measures that boost citizens' purchasing power are crucial for revitalizing the sector. In addition to broader demand-side policies, Reverend Awuni specifically calls for the simplification of systems at Ghana's ports.
The current scan of the business environment indicates that demand is quite low now, and activity in the business sector is very, very quiet. You would also notice that essentially there's a very much increase in smuggling activities, because the tax level at the Tema ports and then the ports are generally very high. Then you also notice that basically the port procedures are also kind of quite complicated for now. And so what we will be looking for is not necessarily tax reliefs. We are looking at issues of the simplifying the port processes. We are looking at the issues of basically ensuring that nuisance taxes should be removed.
That was the executive chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAG, Reverend John Awuni. Now, Ghanaians have expressed excitement about the recent drop in fuel prices at the pumps and are expected of further cuts in subsequent pricing windows. On November 1, some oil marketing companies reduced the price of a litre of petrol from 12 cedis 77 pesos to 11 cedis 59 pesos, and a litre of diesel from 12 cedis 97 pesos to 12 cedis 47 pesos. Some members of the public who spoke to 3 Business are, however, concerned that a decline in fuel prices is yet to reflect in the cost of goods and services in the country.
The fuel prices that has gone down, I think it's been a lot. I think when we work at this, the income we get has increased because of the fuel price that has gone down. I think it's helping us.
the fuel price decreases, I think it's a good thing, and that brings about the prices of goods and services down. And now, when you go to the market to buy some things, like you realize that what you buy today, sometimes the fuel price drop down. The price is supposed to either be stable or reduce. But most of the time when you go to market or you buy something at the shop, you realize that either there's a small margin, like increment of the goods. Sometimes it remains stable. So to my idea, when the fuel price drop down, the prices of goods and services must also be either stable or drop so that it's affordable will be easy for each and every one.
Fuel prices continue to fluctuate. Whatever happens, we are all affected. As drivers, no one listens to us.
And those were some Ghanaians demanding relief in the cost of goods and services amid drop in fuel prices. Now, the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, has stated that no contractor or operator in the petroleum upstream sector will be allowed to hold on to a block without fulfilling its minimum working obligation. Speaking at the Petroleum Commission 2025 Local Content Conference and Exhibition, he emphasized that the cycle of repeated extensions must become a thing of the past.
The Petroleum Commission's Local Content Conference and Exhibition is a premier event for the upstream stakeholders in Ghana's oil and gas sector. It is focused on promoting local content participation and developing the sector. Events for participants from other African countries, as well as Europe and the Scandinavian countries. Speaking at the opening ceremony, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapor, emphasized that the period of repeated extensions of contracts on oil blocks had come to an end and that government will not hesitate to terminate inactive petroleum agreements.
With increasing interest from these oil majors and reputable companies, no contractor or operator will be allowed to hold onto our oil blocks without fulfilling the minimum work obligations.
John Jinapor bemoaned the downturn of Ghana's oil and gas sector and questioned why neighboring Cote d'Ivoire seems to be flourishing whilst Ghana's sector has reached a downturn.
And I met the finance minister. He told me that, Jinapor, if we do not do anything, this sector will collapse. And if we do not do anything, and that's the truth, in some 5-10 years' time, Ghana's energy sector will suffer a major shock.
The acting CEO of the Petroleum Commission, Victoria Hadkaso, also called for reforms in the sector.
The choice is clear. Embrace reform, reclaim Ghana's position as the leading petroleum hub in Africa, or risk economic stagnation as production dwindles. To our international partners, we invite you to deepen your collaboration with Ghana and our enterprises, share technology, and invest in innovation.
The conference aims to stimulate investment, promote innovation, and foster collaboration among international oil companies and Ghanaian service providers.
And that's how we end today's edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please visit our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.